The controversy surrounding the Pokemon community over the course of the last 6 months, since June, has been absolutely inescapable, with people complaining about the national dex being removed, meaning 500 Pokemon or so has been just completely cut from the games, as well as complaints about the graphics, with some people going so far to say that Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield aren't on par with other AAA title video games within the industry, with this goddamn tree receiving a ton of the flack. The Pokemon community has been a real negative place over the course of the last 6 months, and while I agree with quite a lot of the criticism sent towards Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, the way that the criticism has been handled has been nasty, toxic arguments on social media, hate sent towards the developers of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield's personal Twitter accounts. That stuff's unacceptable. And it makes the arguments of the people who debate the negative aspects of the games in a sensible, rational manner, it nullifies them because of the toxic actions of a large portion of the community. Like, I am all for we as customers voicing our opinion when we think a product isn't up to standards, but arguing with people online, oh, it's such a bore. So rather than engaging in senseless, anonymous arguments online about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, certain modders and hackers within the Pokemon community have taken it upon themselves to fix the problems people have with these games. So, for example, one modder within the community by the name of Melon Speedruns has taken it upon themselves to fix that godforsaken tree texture in the wild area. And I have to say, that's a pretty damn fine tree texture, if I say so myself. And Sayazem, a very well-renowned modder within the Nintendo Pokemon community. He's one of the ones responsible for data mining Pokemon games every year when they get leaked, as well as the ones responsible for reverse engineering the Nintendo Switch's infrastructure to be able to run unsigned code, as well as creating Atmosphere custom firmware for the Nintendo Switch. He tweeted this back in June, essentially saying he's going to try to add in the Pokémon CUT from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And today, massive progress has been made towards that, actually showcasing that that is possible. Today, he tweeted out his progress, showcasing that he has added OMASTAR's model to the games, and later showcasing that he's been able to add in its animations ported over from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. He also showcased OMASTAR in battle, saying that animation on entering battle is pretty broken, but it works okay other than that, as well as stats being broken. He went so far to clarify that this was originally a Yamper, that is why it's using electric type attacks, but clarifying that Yamper is still in the game with this edit, as the species ID is completely brand new. They've added a brand new Pokedex entry into the game. So while sure, you are never going to see OMASTAR use Nuzzle as an example in the main series Pokemon titles, this is proof of concept that adding the cut Pokemon from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield is possible. Someone like me, I don't have the talent to be able to do this, but a dedicated team of modders within the Nintendo community absolutely could go about doing this. Now, of course, this isn't a one-man job. It would be entirely unreasonable to expect Sayazem to do all of this by himself. Like, if a dedicated team like Game Freak can't do it, why would you expect Sayas to be able to do it? But he has clarified that it's doable. It would be difficult, but it is definitely doable. It would require tool dev to work with the formats and to be able to use Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon models, community-sourced animations for capture withdrawal, battle entry, stuff like that, potentially Dynamax and Gigantamax, as there definitely are new animations in Sword and Shield. And there would also be the need for help with brand new textures, as you could use the textures from Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but they wouldn't look as nice as the textures used for Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. There's a lot of technical jargon that I myself don't personally understand, as I'm not educated about modding video games. They would need to produce flat buffer schemas to add new animations for Pokemon not currently in Sword and Shield, as well as producing a converter to be able to use models of Pokemon from Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, as one currently doesn't exist. He concluded this initial thread by tweeting, and I quote, "Anyway, more research is needed. My vague plans are to help make the schemas/tools needed and handle the stats side, and then leave it to people who are more familiar with models, animations, and non-bad color perception to make the models look good and function animation-wise." So, as I said, this is just an amazing proof of concept that adding the Pokemon removed from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield is a distinct possibility if we band together as a community and use our skills to make this work. And what this basically is an open call out to people who maybe have an interest in modding video games. This could be your call to action to really make a name for yourself in the Nintendo and Pokemon community. And I know for certain a lot of people are going to take this and think that Game Freak are incompetent for not adding in all the old Pokemon. Like, if one person is able to add in OMASTAR as an example, then why weren't Game Freak simply able to quote-unquote do their job and just add every Pokemon into Sword and Pokemon Shield? Honestly, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to use this moment to, I don't know, bash Game Freak. I'm going to use this as a moment to celebrate the talented people we have in the Nintendo and Pokemon community. The fact that we are able to reverse engineer a Pokemon game and to be able to add in content like this is an absolute dream come true. I'm a massive PC gamer. I would spend hours modding in the freaking Incredible Hulk into GTA 4. I've spent hours modding Skyrim, adding really cool texture packs, stuff like that. And the fact that this is a possibility in 2019, modding Pokemon games to add in content, change textures, stuff like that, that is really cool. And that absolutely should be celebrated. And while yes, it would have been really cool if Game Freak actually acted on our criticism, I'm sure that they've listened to us. I mean, there's been a lot of it. It would have been so cool if we as customers didn't have to go about doing this. But the fact that this is possible is just pretty damn amazing. So, if modders actually went so far to add in the entirety of the National Pokédex into Sword and Shield, what would actually happen? So, what happens if the community actually do band together and add in every Pokemon CUT from Sword and Shield into the game? You wouldn't be able to use it on a regular unhacked Switch, unfortunately. You would have to modify the firmware with third-party tools to be able to access this, and that would mean, of course, giving up your online capabilities to be able to do so. So, this unfortunately isn't a perfect solution. I myself wouldn't take advantage of this because I value online play just way too much. I just personally think this is an amazing proof of concept, and I'm really looking forward to any potential developments that occur in the future. I'm going to be following this very closely over the course of the next few months, and I highly recommend you do the same. I recommend you follow SireZem on Twitter. Link to him is going to be in the description, as well as links to everything that I've showcased on screen in this video. Now, I do want to throw in a closing point and clarify upon on it. It definitely is not the job of the customers to fix what we deem a broken game. We've seen with the release of Fallout 76 within the last year, a game that was universally hyped by the community that envelops that game. When it launched, it was in a completely unacceptable state. It was bugged to all hell. And I'm not comparing Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield to Fallout 76 because I believe the problems surrounding that game are a lot more severe, but talented modders and hackers within the Fallout community were able to fix a lot of the bugs surrounding them games. And while of Bethesda, the publisher of Fallout done, they've just spat on their customer's face. If this project isn't fully realized and we do not see the National Pokédex re-added to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, the cut Pokemon not put back into the games. It absolutely is not under any circumstances the fault of talented people like SkySM. And I'm looking in the You My Like section here now. People like Matt Ukana, Cathotics, Kaizo War. It just isn't their role as a consumer to fix a game that some people might deem as broken. The release of Pokemon Home isn't planned for 5 or 6 months from now, and I've always said the Game Freak have the time to be able to add in every Pokemon cut from these games and just to create a much more healthy relationship with their customers and the developer alike. That would go a long way to fix any negativity in the community if they released a day one patch with the release of Pokemon Home that enabled us to be able to transport our Pokemon over from previous games. And unfortunately, Game Freak have went out of their way and said no, that 100% is not happening, and it's presumably because they're focused on the next game that is probably going to release next year. They've made their money from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. They don't need to do anything else. Now, of course, that is an incredibly short-term view. And what we as customers need to do, if you are outraged about the national Pokedex, you need to take a good hard look at yourself and whether or not you want to support them business practices and decide whether or not to purchase the next Pokemon game. I went into Pokemon Sword and Shield willing to give Game Freak the benefit of the doubt. And if I found the games fun, and if I found there were new animations and the graphics were worked on, then I would purchase the next Pokemon games. And so far, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield have delivered on my personal expectations of the game. So, rather than expecting modders to fix the game, you need to take a look at your own personal expectations of Sword and Shield and any future Pokemon game and decide whether you want to support them business practices. Because if you're just giving them your money and not enjoying the game, it's your own fault. It just is. That's all I wanted to say. It's not the role of the customers to fix what people deem broken with a game. I didn't want to allude to otherwise in this video, as I've been very in support of modders. I just don't want to force unreasonable expectations upon them. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Are you excited about the possibility of this project? Are you just still disappointed in Game Freak? Because I understand. Leave a comment. I'm interested. A like would be amazing on this video. Subscribe so you don't miss any more of my future Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield videos. Should have another one up hopefully later tonight. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.